If we talk about star seeds, and you are telling us that everyone has how to say, seeds inside of themselves, how to understand which kind of fruit or vegetable or what is that? If you have some details.
Kaya, do you want this one?
Yeah, sure. You know, there is a way now to where you can really explore your curiosity with your DNA. Because when we think of star seeds, we think of DNA adjustments. And I can go back a little bit further to illustrate this point, is our genetics and our DNA has basically evolved, and it is evolving, and it's being released, and there's new strands of DNA that are opening up as we evolve more. This comes through in a lot of QHHT sessions, DNA upgrade happening. It happens during sessions at times when the SCC is saying that the DNA of the individual is opening up, that it's the right time, they're ready, it's the right place. And when this opens up, you're able to perceive more. You're able to get more information coming to you without having to, struggle to get it in. It's just naturally coming to you. When you're faced with a choice in life and there's something coming to you and you need to make a decision, perhaps before you had this DNA upgrade, you may be thinking this, that, life, I make a mistake. Oh no, this, that. Now, with this part of a DNA upgrade, the answer just seems really clear. And you know that this is really pulling you. It's just kind of there. It's happening. And it just seems like you don't have to stress about it. You can move into it. Your instincts are stronger and you're feeling your heart energy pulling you in. So that's one example, I guess, as we look to connect DNA to this concept of star seeds. And now to answer your question more directly, how do I know what I should be eating and things like that in my life? There are DNA tests that you can take where you can learn a little bit more about yourself in this world. And you can learn a little bit more about where you came from. And you can also learn a little bit more about what foods are good for you. That technology is all coming here. And we are meant to connect technology to spirituality. That's the new formula. When you do that, what's going to happen is you're going to have AI. And I know AI is a big concept here in Russia, all around the world. This is a big thing that's happening with AI. Human beings need to focus on making AI as smart as it possibly can. The highest level of AI, because the highest level is when there is complete lock with our higher selves. And the only thing that can come from that is good. It's us being our full selves, us being powerful, us being very cooperative, having an environment of love in the world. And that's where we are headed. But there's other realities that we can choose that are not so grand, that are not using AI all the way, that are not allowing our DNA to unfold. And the star seeds are not happy with that because the mission is going a little bit off to the side, and we may have to start over again if it goes too much off to the side. So we're faced with a choice. In which direction do we want to go? What do you want to believe? If you want to believe a lot of things that make you feel scared, that make you feel lesser of you, if you want to read up a lot about that, then that reality becomes more prevalent to you. But if you want to fill your head more with that which makes you happy, which is positive, which is the way you want to think and live, that reality comes closer to you, and you open up more of your DNA. You open up more of your strands, and you go more towards that reality with a powerful AI integration.
So if we are talking about shadow self and shadow work, I would like to ask, is it possible that a session under the QHHT methods has a clue or vision of which work the people or the person should do during this life or during the lives in linear? What can you say?
Absolutely, a QHHT session. This is what you're doing. I mean, shadow work let's break it down. Let's not make it so woo woo and oh goodness, you know, here we go. It's just dealing with your stuff. It's working with your junk, your stuff, whatever you want to call it. It's the stuff that we don't like to look at. And that's why it kind of goes back here and why they call it the shadow, because we put it over here in the dark. But that's what a session will disclose it, kind of explain why it's there. It's what it's all about. I mean, you will look at it. If it's important for you to look at, you will look at it. Now that, but see, your life does that anyway. I want you to pay attention to what comes into your life, the kind of people that come into your life, because they're acting as mirrors for you to look at parts of yourself that you're not willing to look at, the parts of yourself that you are shoving back there that you don't want to look at. See, your higher self, whatever, is bringing that into view for you, so you will work on it. You will look at it and say, yeah, this is part of me. When we help someone else, we are helping ourselves. Okay? Now, all of this, and the biggest part of what a QHHT session will do, or anything of looking into yourself will do, is it shines your light brighter. And that was a huge message with this work, is like, rather than focusing on this maybe potential dark side of yourself and getting into that scary thing and oh my goodness, it's like, be brighter. Because it's like they were saying, you know, if you will look at how, when do you have the least amount of shadow? It's when that sun is right overhead and it's brilliantly bright. You have very little. So that's all. It's like calling us to expand ourselves, expand our light. That takes care of these things. They are brought into view when we need them, and we deal with them and then let it go. If you hang on to it, it's what Kaia has been saying all this time. This is what has been going. If you hang on to these things, you're creating them. You're creating more and more of it. That's the line you're going down, because like attracts like. Whatever you focus on, you are creating. So if it comes into your view, deal with it, take care of it, and then move on. It's like, okay, thank you so much. And then now go from there.
Yeah, and some people are thinking that, okay, I just get a QHHT session and that's all. So higher self make everything done and I will go another way. So what can you add for this point of view? Because it's really, I hear several times that people are thinking like that. So someone can do instead of himself this kind of work, and possibly you can make some details about it.
Absolutely. QHHT session is not, it's not about me going to you to get myself fixed. You're not fixing me, okay? It's you being shown what's actually going on, so now you can work on yourself. So it's like I said, you're being given things that you can look at. Well, it'll happen every day in life, but it also happens in the session. It's showing where these things are coming from, why you have them in your life. Now, here's what we're going to do about it, you know, and that higher part of yourself will give you all the instructions. So after the session, it's up to you to now go out and do whatever the SC told you to do, you know, the higher self. It's giving you everything you need. But if you don't listen to that recording and you just go, okay, they fixed me, you know, and if you go back to the same way you were thinking, the same way you were living, everything that was the same that got you into that place in the first place, you will go right back to the same person that you were. But if you will do the guidance that you were given in that session by listening to that recording over and over and over again, there's so much information in those recordings, but you listen to it over and over again and you will do it and heed it, your life will go in the direction that you were shown. It's your choice.
Some people are thinking that they do not choose to go into this life. So it's like a kind of obligation. And they ask how to escape of this samsara. What's going on? Why I'm here? What I can do? Do you hear this kind of message of help? What can you advise?
Yes. Yes. First of all, those messages are coming through when you are in a little bit of a lower vibrational state, when you are not being your real self. Maybe something happened to you. Maybe you're going through some experiences where you're feeling a little down, because the real you knows that you are meant to be here. There's no mistakes in the universe where, oh, it's by accident you kind of fell into Earth in this experience. We see in QHHT sessions, there's the in-between lives that is a very, very important part of the QHHT sessions. And that is when the client is describing why they were in that life, what the meanings were, and they're sort of in between. They can describe the death scene, what all those relationships meant. And we've seen this tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of times, this experience being very personal to that. So for us, we have proof in this place, and it never comes through. The universe made an accident. You weren't meant to be here. There's always, always, always meaning in whatever you're doing now. If you think it was an accident you hear, or you can't believe what's happening in your life, you have to just trust that this is here for a reason, and you do have options. You always, always, always have options. And the more you can talk to your higher self, the more you can actually accept some of your options. I'll give you an example. This was very clear. It's one of the classes. A woman kept saying that she would rather die or commit suicide than break up with her husband, who she did not love, who she had no connection with, who treated her terribly, but she had this sort of belief system that she would rather commit suicide or try and get away with this than deal with the husband. Well, you know, in situations like that, you go through this life to deal with the husband, to deal with the bully, to deal with whatever you need to deal with so you can be yourself again. You're not meant to just lock yourself for the rest of your life in situations. You're meant to change, and your higher self always tells you. And if you don't change, you know what your higher self is going to do? Your higher self will start allowing you to have physical symptoms and problems, so that because this body is with you, you have to change or you will be physically hurt. And if you could change the physical with the emotional first, you have alignment. And it's an interesting thing, the way that that works. With QHHT, you can get to the bottom of why you're here, what your purpose is, what your challenges is, and the steps you need to take to move forward. But please remember, no accidents. If you're listening now, you're meant to listen to this. There's no accident. There's no accidents in your life whatsoever. This is all an experience for you.
And I think where that might be, some of that might be coming from is like the volunteers, if they feel like they were pushed, you know, they were made to come. But, you know, they're called volunteers for a reason. And some of them say, well, I feel like I was volunteered, but still they chose it. And it was part of this plan. Like Kai said, there's a whole plan put in place before you ever come in. You have guides, you have all of this team around you helping you make that plan. So, and you know, and as your earlier soul to a later soul, kind of more used to the routine, earlier ones might have more guide involvement. Later, you might have a little bit more involvement, but still, it's all for you, and it's your choice.
But possibly you must thinking or have a way how to escape of samsara of Earth's lives. So people are thinking that they're stuck with it. So Kaya described the one of the things when the people do not want to work with current life, so they would like to escape. But I mean, there are several lives during the Earth, so it seems like it's a chewing gum when you stick and you cannot escape. Possibly you have a receipt how to go further.
I mean, you come in with a mission, a purpose. You come in with something to accomplish. And if you leave before that's done, then you're going to come back because you didn't finish the job. Okay, that's in a nutshell. That's what it is. And so go ahead and get the job done. And this is a message that's come through a lot, especially from Mom, since she has passed, is that you came here for a reason. So get it done, do it, and then you can leave. You're all wanting to leave. You want to just escape. You want to go back home. But you came here for a reason, to do something. So do it.
So it's not a mistake, it's a reason.
No. There's a reason. There is a reason. There are no mistakes. And you are vitally needed. If you leave, it will not be the same experience. And a lot of things will have to take place to try and even possibly make up for the gap that you left.
Is it possible for a person himself to reset the karmic nodes so that they do not pass on the future of the descendants? So the people are thinking that they are connecting with the kind of karmic nodes with their sons or daughters, and how to escape of this.
That's, and I've been hearing a lot about that. And I think some people are saying that's coming up in sessions right now, that it's like dealing with ancestral things, clearing some of that. Again, what I'm hearing very loudly is that's your choice. It's something that can be done, and it would be easily done in a session. It's something the SC could just go, yep, here we go. Because that's how easy it is to wipe something. Yeah.
So it's specific question, and you advise to go to the session to understand. And
if it feels like it's something important, if it feels like it's something that's really important, otherwise, if it's really important, the SC or the higher self will bring it up. This is what they're doing. Otherwise, I wouldn't go looking for it.
What to prefer, cremation or Mother Damp Earth?
Yeah, the thing to understand is that you leave your body long, long before that process happens. So it's almost as if what is left of the body is like a different person or something that's totally different, because the spirit, your real energy, moves on into something else. So that's just a matter of almost disposal and prevalence. And it's probably best to think from the lens of, for the people left behind, what would make them feel that they can pay tribute to you in the most positive way. So if you would ask those who would probably be younger, like your children, grandchildren, what way would they want to connect with you sometime in the future when maybe you're not here, and you create that, it's a gift for them to mesh your energies. It's not so much about your choice because you're already gone. It's about how you can better connect and stay there with, because it's harder for a lot of times in the 3D reality to be left behind than to pass on. When you're left behind, you may be worried, you may be wondering if they're okay, you may have guilt, you may have all those things. When you leave, you go on to new things, you're figuring things out. It's like going on a new vacation. You're in this whole different world, and they can see your world, they can see you, they can connect to you at any time, but they just don't know. And you wish they could know. So why not set something up in advance that can be a symbol for you to connect energetically for their entire life? That's the way I would answer that question and look at that question and look at it from a new angle.
You know that Julia Cannon has a book in Russian, Speak Souls. Great, Julia. I need to ask, when did you wrote this book, and for whom did you wrote this book, and for what is?
Yeah, I wrote the book. It was published in 2013, so it's been out a little while. But I wrote it. The reason I wrote it, well, one, my higher self and guides were pushing me and saying, you better get this done. And I'm like, I'm resisting, we do that, don't we? We're pushed in a direction. We're like, no. So, but anyway, but the reason was that people need to understand why their bodies are having aches and pains and illnesses. And, we just go about this day by day. It's kind of like that linear line thing, thinking, I just got to do this. This is how this life is. We're taught we're going to hurt. We're going to have aches and pains as we get older. This is just how it is. Well, what I was starting to find out through sessions is it's not how it is. Those aches and pains and illnesses, all the way up to diseases, everything that can happen, these are messages from your higher self. Our guides and our higher selves are trying to talk to us, and we're not listening. Even when I was listening, I was still resisting, right? So when we're not moving in the direction that we had intended, remember, we created a blueprint of what we want to accomplish in this life. And if we get off track, then we need our guidance team to tell us, hey, you need to go this way. Well, if we're not hearing them, then they're going to use the body. They're going to communicate with us some way. So they're using the body to communicate what we need to do. And so that's, it's just a language that hadn't been translated. We don't understand it because it's a different language. And so that's where this is a translation manual for the language of the body.
Yeah, the language of your body, it's additional of the soul speak, and you wrote about that every point of attention inside of the body has a message, and you may able to understand this message and possibly understand yourself. So it's a kind of prediction before the session. Oh, after all, what can you say?
Absolutely, because these are the types of things that will come up in a session. If you have physical issues, then when you get to that higher self, it will explain why you have them. And that's exactly what it is. These are messages. They're trying to tell you, many times it's trying to tell you move in another direction, or you got to let go of something and move here, whatever. It's trying to give you direction. And if your body, the more stuff's going on with your body, that tells me the longer you've been getting messages and not listening.
So I'm proud that we have this book, and people who would like to go deep, a little bit deep inside of yourself, please read this book, understand it. It's very interesting to see what's going on with yourself, not just with Julia described inside of the book, but understand with yourself. And the next question is very interesting. When the level 2 will be appear in Russian, and what does it consist? Please tell us in details. We would like to speak with our auditorium about it, because we haven't it yet.
Good to take a step back and think first. The level 1 was intended to give any student the ability to learn the technique from beginning to end. So you actually learn the technique. Then you get to go out and we encourage you to practice. You practice, you practice. And while you practice, there's some places you're going to get to where you're going to get a little bit stuck, where you're going to think, oh, okay, that part was difficult. And then, ooh, they came back in on the life scene and that freaked me out because the person was in pain. Or, oh, this isn't a normal person, it's an energy. And like, how do I deal with this? How do I deal with that? How do I deal with people that don't seem like they're going under that easily? Is my interview good? Is my voice actually good? So it's one thing to learn it, but it's another thing to go in and to examine all the different pieces of the practice and just to see and check in with what your level is, to see where you are. So with the level 2, we went in and we broke down all the common experiences, all of the main pieces, and we go into great detail to re-explain with greater emphasis the points that you really should pay attention to, and the common places where you get resistance in your practice, and the solution to removing that resistance. And it's done in a very detailed way. Julia does an incredible example of diving into all of these places so that you leave this with this tremendous sense of confidence that I understand now. I'm not afraid of anything in my practice. I'm not scared that I can't get the person under. I'm not scared that I'll forget to ask the right questions. I just know what to do, and I'm good with this. Mm-hmm. And that's part of it. And the other part is I go over the practical components of how to really make this into a business, and how to talk to people about QHHT, and how to actually set up your business, your office, how to get past the idea that some people say you shouldn't make any money because this is spiritual, and if you're a good person, you shouldn't make any money. I go through all of that. Blocks in terms of getting the money that you deserve for your practice, and then take you through a dream life meditation where you are actually experiencing your dream life and everything that you want in it, and backing it in to take steps to create an actually business plan for yourself, just so you know what to do every day with your time. You want to pursue this, you want to make a career of this, so what do you do with your time? So we set up a plan for you in how you spend your time and where you put your energy, and what you put in, you're going to get back. We've seen now countless practitioners go through the level 2, and they've made it into the level 2, and now they're going into the level 3, and they're making it into the level 3, And it's really a great, great, deep class that will take you to the next level with complete confidence.
And if we are talking about QHHT level 2, which hours of experience will you advise to have until the person will start level 2?
Well, we want them to have practice. We want them to have some experience under their belt. And we have we have reduced the number that they have to do the class. But we still, to really understand and get the most out of that class, do yourself some service by having some practice. It can be 10 sessions, it can be more. The more you have, the more you will get from the class, but we're not going to restrict your ability to come to the class by the number of sessions. You get all the information you need in level 1. Level 2, you're really honing the skills. You're doing this. So it's not more information, it's mastering the technique. Well, you can't master something that you haven't practiced yet. And that's why we want you to get some practice. So they think, oh, I'm just going to go, I can pass this and I can pass that, like it's more information. That's not how it is. We're honing what you're working with.
Describing level 2, it has 34 online video sessions, 12 additional question and answer videos, and 12 bonus training sessions. So it's a huge of material. Could you explain a little bit more what the people can get?
You can get a really fundamental knowledge on really, first of all, making a much better interview. We find now that when you start diving into the interview, there's a lot of feedback where practitioners are saying, oh, I wasn't thinking about that in my interview. Oh, when I asked that question about the session, the real answer was in the interview. And sometimes now in the level 2, you're able to see how one block leads to another block, where before you didn't understand that. So that's one piece, is like interview being very, very clear and knowing what you need to do to get a powerful interview where they have complete trust. That's one thing you're going to get, is you're going to understand how to get their trust in the interview before you need it for the induction. So you have to already build this. The importance of it is there. We give you a lot of different examples. You get to see a live interview happening, and you get to see where there's the resistant points and what's coming from this, and get to watch that technique broken down. Then you get to see what it's like going through and hearing a student's induction and how they make little mistakes that maybe you could be making too in the induction, and understanding and seeing the right way of doing it, and then having some coaching to be able to do this induction in the right way according to your voice and what's natural for you, because this is all about your practice. So you're going to get that very clear with how you can use your voice as power to put people into a deep state of trance. And that's a much more in-depth way. In level 1, you didn't have voice work. Your voice right now could be anywhere. It could be good, bad, amazing, horrible. How do you know? You only really know if you have a coach that can spend the time to work with you. And then when you have that down, we go off into the session. And in the session, you're understanding exactly. Now it may seem like you have an idea of where they're going, but you still may miss some things. You still may have things where you just get stuck, where you're just like, I don't know what to do there. Oh, I didn't expect that. Oh, that wasn't, the whole thing wasn't what I was expected. You will realize from the level 2 course that you don't need to expect anything, because anything can happen. We just need to prepare you for anything. Mm-hmm. So there's a way to be prepared for anything that calms the nerves, so that when you're actually there, you're present and you're not thinking, what am I going to do next? Oh my gosh, what's the next line? You're just sitting there totally present, and you know what's coming next. You're in this flow state with them. We really get you into that state with the level 2. And then afterward, when they're coming into the SC and the healing process, dealing with the SC, you're going to find it's a lot different. Every time is totally different. If you think you're getting one SC, your next session could be a completely different SC. You're learning to speak the language of the SC and learning the personalities of the SC, how to work with these different types of personalities. Sometimes you could freak out if the SC, no, not answering, next question. Okay, next question. I'll go into the thing. I didn't know. No, but there's a different way you can deal with that. There's a different way you can deal with any response from the SC. There's a different way you can handle that conversation. So we dive into how you have a relationship with the SC and really pull that out. And that's pretty neat.
Yeah, and one sure tell thing, if you were having any problem at all getting to the SC, remember that's the whole objective of a session, is to get to that SC, to get answers for the person, to get them healing, to get whatever it is they're looking for. But if you're having problems getting to that SC or getting a good, clear connection to that SC, then it falls in one of those three areas. It's the interview, it's the voice, or it's the questions. And it may be all three. But that's why we are honing those and we are working on those so you can master them. And I guarantee you, if you're having problems as you go through, this is what Kai was saying, people start realizing, oh, that's it right there. That's what I wasn't doing, or that's what I needed. And that's it for the whole thing.
It's looking great, and I like that I see as a description that you have several sessions and question and answer about this question, about these sessions. And I like this one, everything is black session, question and answer. Especially what you gonna do if you have this kind of session. It's really...
Yeah, because when that happens, it's a freak out moment for the practitioner and the client. And so we deal with it right up front. And this is what it can be. It's like what we show that what the black is, what it usually is. And that's where you don't be afraid of it. Go on through it, work with it. And we show you how to work with it.
So it's an incredible experience about this kind of work which you demonstrating during this course, and of course it will help to people to understand the space of it, the space of this kind of trance, and people can understand the ways how to escape of it and how to get the best results from the sessions. And I understand, Kaia, that you make a kind of produce this course as a professional one, so the people can get it as a professional, so they can has this kind of profession for their life, and they can work, they can has a kind of job of their life. Which you describe it. So it's kind of accumulated knowledge.
Yes, you know, the emphasis that I like to bring into it is that this is something very valuable that you're learning. Someone is trusting you with their consciousness, and you're guiding their consciousness into an optimal state so that they can get the most important answers to the most important decisions in their life, and to heal themselves for everything that's holding them back physically and emotionally. Now, if you put a value on that and you imagine what could be a value about that, you imagine a before, somebody that doesn't have a session, and you could kind of look into the future and see their life unfolding with all the drama and the problems and the indecision. And then you see that same person having their session and then getting those answers, listening to those answers and actually moving forward. They're going to be making a lot more money. They're going to be in a healthier relationship, and they're going to be in a situation where they're going to have less anxiety. They're going to be more comfortable, and they're going to feel like they're really doing something with their life. And the value to that, you may have to go through tens of thousands of $50,000, $100,000 worth of therapy, maybe to go there conventionally. In QHHT, you can do it one time. So this is valuable, and you deserve to earn a significant amount of money for doing these sessions well. It's just a function of you being able to explain what you can do for them, because they don't know. You're the expert. So you need to learn how to talk about QHHT so that you can get your true value. And it's not difficult. There's some fundamental pieces I teach you. You do those fundamental pieces, and you're going to make a lot of money with QHHT.
And you described it as a 5D business, so it's full concept of it.
Yes, we are much stronger together than we are apart. And I'll teach some techniques about how our group can use our interaction to make you look better to the public, to make you seem more desirable and more attractive and more competent, and spread that out to the world so they're attracting you. and you're getting the clients that you need, and you're building the life that you really want. Because part of the class is I help you look into the life that you really want. Because it's one thing to just have a job you like or a career you like. It's another thing to have the life you want. And a 5D business is not just about the money you want, but it's about taking that money and creating a system that you want around you. And that's what's important about the 5D business world, is more than just business, actually. It's about you being an extra dimensional self and acting it, living it.
Yeah, and I like that it's not only the course which describes the techniques, it describes the whole way, how to connect it and put it into your life like a business one model. And I see in bonus content integrating soul speak into your practice. I guess it's a kind of bonus of this book, which we will add to Russian audience. It will be great.
Right. Well, because that really helps you in the interview. Like you're saying, some clients will be reading it maybe beforehand, but definitely when they're coming in, they have aches and pains and physical issues. It's good if you have an idea of what this is pointing to. So it really helps you ask better questions. It guides you and so that's what that part is in the course. It's how to use Soul Speak to guide your questions in the interview.
And if we will take one of the video which describes, for example, chakras and the body scan. What is that? Is it real that we may walk with higher self with our own chakras?
It's more so the body, the higher self does a body scan, and it's like you imagine like maybe an MRI or a scanning machine is able to go through. Well, it just does that. It scans through the body, and it can pick up any imbalances, anything that's out of whack, and that can be the chakras. So it'll just point out anything that's off, and then through this process, then we teach you how to ask the questions or how to guide or ask for the healing. If it needs some work done there, then get to the bottom of it. What's this about? Get the understanding, and then go forward with it. But it just scans right through the body.
The level 2 is everything that you need to go from a beginner into someone that has a career where they're successful doing QHHT, where they actually can call themselves QHHT is my job, it's how I make my money, and actually have people really interested in it. Having you being capable with describing what you do and doing it at a very high level. So talking the talk and walking the walk is what this teaches you how to do.
Great. So I can say it's a great thing for all people who are watching this video to do this kind of job with himself and understand the real life where we are living, and for what reason we know exactly, but for some reason we forget about it temporarily. If you have wishes for Russian audience before they will see the QHHT level 2 soon, please welcome.
My heart goes out to you. I am so grateful for each and every one of you, and I can't wait. Even if you don't choose to be part of this QHHT family, you're still part of our family. I love you.
Just thank you so much for being here with us today. You are an important part of our community, and you can do everything with your life that you feel you want to do. There's something inside you that is really beautiful, and this spirituality that you're feeling like you're attracted to, it's happening and it's there, and it's something you're really meant to do. So however you choose to do it, just move forward with it. The world's changing, it's opening up, things are changing. Like, help with that shift. You've been called on to help with this shift in the world, and you know that. So continue moving down that path. Be curious, want to get in there and do things and try new things and have a different mindset of what you can do with your life, because there's so much that you can do, and it's beautiful, and we're really grateful for you having this today.
Thank you very much, Julia Cannon and Kaya Wittenburg, this evening on TV Extra, and we will keep continue this kind of conversation. Thank you very much for sharing this kind of information. See you soon.
Thank you.
See you, Dennis. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.